So there's a lot to unravel today. I feel like it's almost been like a month, I think, since my last episode. Um and a lot has happened. I really wanted to do an episode of the podcast while I was on tour. But damn. I actually made an attempt to record an episode on the Bandwagon, the bus tour, the mini version of a tour bus that I was on. Um, and it just didn't work out. Probably because for some reason they always had like the engine on. I think it's just for safety reasons, maybe. I don't know the technical reasoning behind it, but the engine was always on. So when I tried to record an episode, all my voice would just get buried in the sound of the engine, which that's all I could hear for like 20 minutes. Uh, and I only found that out after I was blabbering for 20 minutes. So, yeah, and also it just found it really hard to get anything done on the road. It's just a lot already. So, yeah, basically I was on a tour for the last month and I am going to talk about it in today's episode. The tour is over. It is officially over. It was over maybe a few days ago, I think. Who I might actually I feel like crying a little bit just talking about it ending. Just because I bonded with a lot of the people who I was on the road with for 5 whole weeks nonstop 24/7. But let's take it to the top. Take it to the top. Take it from the top. Take it on the top. So the tour began, and it was my first tour. My first tour ever was with Chai just about 2 months ago, and that was a different kind of tour experience because I was sleeping in hotels. I was driving around during the day, moving about in between cities, loading in and out my gears and such. This time, I was on my own. Last time I was with my managers. Excuse me. This time I was on my own. I set out on my own, and we were traveling in this vehicle called Bandwagon. I had never heard of such a thing prior to going on this tour. Apparently, it's like an in-between of like a normal car, like a normal van, and like a tour bus, like a celebrity level tour bus. So it's like not as nice as a celebrity level tour bus, but a little bit better. Definitely better than like a normal van car. So yeah, I didn't really know what to expect when I first went in there, I was like, ooh, a bandwagon. It's a wagon for the bands. I went in, there are 6 bunks in total. There were beds. Oh my god. They're basically all you need to like survive, like basic survival needs for a human being. There were beds. There were little storage places for you to store stuff that you brought with you. There was a toilet. There was a sink. There was even a shower. A little like communal area with little couches and a fridge, a microwave, a little table to prepare food or whatever. So it was there. It was very there. I was very surprised. I was pleasantly surprised by the amenities provided in the Bandwagon. It was weird though, because like sleeping, I don't think I've ever slept in a like a moving vehicle with a bed in it. I got the top bunk as well, so it's like the third floor of the bunk. So I had to like, every time I had to climb into my bed, I would have to like do a little like jungle monkey motion where I had to like climb up the first two bunks up to my bunk. It was a nice little aerobic exercise to wake up to and go to bed to. It was nice. I didn't mind at all. Although the sleeping part needed a little getting used to. I had to like, what's that sound? It's a little crack. I think it was just my butt rubbing against the wooden floor. Just a normal butt sound rubbing on the wooden floor. Just a crack of the butt. Not a fart. Not a fart. I would tell you if it was a fart. Anyway, the sleeping in the bunk part needed a little adjustment, a little adaptation period, because the usual schedule would be we would play a show in the evening, and then we would move to the next city during the night, which is while we slept. So the bandwagon was moving as we were sleeping in our bunks. And so it's quite like trying to sleep on a roller coaster at one point. The road sometimes was quite bumpy. It was a bumpy road. Sometimes it do be. And, yep, it was just like me, just my body involuntarily shaking around in the bunk, trying not to fall from the third floor. And just sometimes I got close to falling off, but it's okay. It's all good. I survived. And also, after a while, you kind of get used to it. It kind of grows on you. Like, I don't know if this would make any sense at all, but you know how like people fall asleep like on a massage bed or whatever, or like massage couch or massage machines, like doing some kind of like motion on their backs or whatever. I reached a point where I was like, after a few restless nights, I was actually kind of needing the bumps, needing the little gravelly road experience in order to fall asleep in peace. I don't know if that's normal, but it was like my theorization is that it kind of had this like, the moving around of the bus had this kind of like massaging effect where it's like, it's kind of like this really somehow calming kind of repetitive motion of my body being shaken around by something, which is the bus and the road. Oh, lots of things. Very lots of things have happened in this little small vehicle the last 5 weeks. Haha. It was a journey. It was a journey. The whole tour was a journey, of course. But we could probably make a movie, like a full-length movie, just out of the events that happened in that little vehicle. There's a lot that happened. Let's see. Our water tank broke, so I guess scrap whatever I just said about the amenities because the shower, the sink, the toilet basically didn't have any water coming out of it, which meant we couldn't really use it, except for maybe the toilet, which was like, you could just like dump your pee in it and just flush it away without any water. Sometimes you would have to like pour water, like pour like bottled water just to like just to, you know, let it have a more liquidy substance. you do get quite dehydrated on the road simply because you're too scared to pee. man, it was a challenge. It was definitely a challenge trying to pee in the bandwagon toilet while it's moving. Because it was so bumpy and the toilet was so small, and I also didn't want to like sit on the toilet, so I would have to like squat. But like I suck at squatting, so um I would like have to squat and also balance myself because it was so bumpy. And if I wasn't careful, I would like spill my pee all over all over the place. And which I didn't want, it's a shared bathroom and I wanted to respect other people's hygiene rules, and for myself as well. I didn't want to just pee everywhere. So, yes, that was a very, very big challenge, which ultimately just put me off drinking water at all on the bus. I guess I was very dehydrated. Also, I couldn't poop. Nobody could poop. It was only a toilet. The bandwagon toilet only accepts pee. Um, I mean, reasonably so, because the way the toilet works is that we literally have to dump the pee somewhere else. It's like literally stored underneath the bandwagon. So if people were started to poop in it, it would smell like a pretty poopy in the whole of the vehicle. I mean, we had moments where it's like we were only just peeing and that already was causing some odor issues. It's natural, but poop too much. I love poop, but no poop on bandwagon, no poop. Eh. So I was also very careful as to like my dietary consumption because, what if I have something fishy, and I end up having some diarrhea, like in the middle of the road, and we have to drive another 20 minutes until the next gas stop, and I have to like hold in. That's like a scenario that has actually happened before, so I didn't want, I just, it was a preventative action. And thankfully, there weren't too many times. I wouldn't say it never happened, but there weren't too many times that I was on the verge of shitting my pants. God damn it. I love talking about poop. um, yeah, so, bandwagon, life was very wild and hectic. Sometimes a little sweaty, sometimes a little, not, it's definitely not glamorous at all, but it had the basics, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it, and I've also experienced worse as well. Like I've not to flex on my pretty shitty experiences in my life, but I have slept in hostels with 25 other people, just people, lots of people, mostly naked for some reason. I guess a lot of people like to sleep naked. There were lots of times that I had it worse. So I was grateful. I was grateful that I had this bandwagon. Also, I was, I mean, this goes back to how I was almost like on the verge of getting a little teary again, thinking about looking back to the tour. It's the people that I was in the bandwagon with and traveling with, on the road with. A lot of them I just ended up having such a lovely time with, and a lot of things happened too, so we kind of like had a little trauma bonding. When you go through the rough together, you kind of come out of it having this like, unconditional bond that you cannot buy with no money in the entire world. You can only buy it with experience, especially shitty experiences, traumatic experiences. That's trauma bonding. And I feel like, and I hope, I think everybody in the Mystery Skulls team that I toured with could easily agree that we definitely like trauma bonded. We share this experience that I don't think anybody else can like relate to, but us. Such as, our trailer getting hit by a car, or, us having to cancel a show because our vehicle hit a deer in the middle of the night and our vehicle broke. So we were stuck in a gas station for like 14 hours, something like that, etc., etc. I will get to that in a bit. But the people, man, the people were could easily have been like the ones that the element that I was like the most anxious about also going into the tour, because depending on the people that I travel with could determine whether the next 5 weeks of my life could be kind of hellish or could be just exciting and filled with fun and joy and a lot of alcohol and jokes and fun times. And thankfully it was the latter. Mystery Skulls, Lou, aka Mystery Skulls, we call him Lou, which is his name, and Lou's girlfriend Danny, aka Snowblood, and Spencer, who was the DJ for Mystery Skulls, me, Caitlin, the merch gal, our tour manager Melissa, who unfortunately had to drop out of our journey midway because she got COVID midway through, which was very unfortunate. And our driver Logan, and also our former driver TJ, who also had to go away mid tour because he wanted to. There were some issues internally, I think. But I just had such a great time with all of them. It was a lot of, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't want to like cry or anything, but I actually had this conversation with Spencer one night after a show, towards the end of the tour, where we were talking about our experiences being on the road together. And some of the people were saying, they miss their families, they want to go back home, they could really use a nice bath, they could use they miss their beds and such. But we were also talking how it's this very bittersweet, melancholy thing, this feeling that resembles the end of a summer camp, which I would say I can't like 100% relate to, because I grew up in Korea and I've only been to like one summer camp where I had 0 friends and I was just always alone. So I guess like because I'd never really had a friend to like spend summer with, or went to summer camp with, or spent this amount of time together with at all, except for my family in my entire life, this was like the first time I ever had this kind of experience. And I mean, maybe I could wrap my head around this feeling towards the end of this episode. I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more I talk about the events that happened throughout the weeks, I might be able to like put more solid words into how I feel about this. But it's sad in an endearing way. And I miss the people more than I miss the being on the road, the physical part. I miss the bonding. But yeah, speaking of people, it wasn't just the Mystery Skulls crew that I was with on the road. I met a lot of people, a lot of lovely human beings. There were some very precious, very, very precious moments during this tour. So many that I fear that I might not be able to remember all of them, which is so saddening. I know they're gonna come back to me. Like every single one of them, they're gonna come back to me. Especially when I look back to all the little gifties, all the little gadgets, little trinkets. Do you call them trinkets or what is it? Gadgets and gizmos, who's its and what's its that I received from some of the fellow audiences and fans and friends while I was on the tour. But I would say yes, like there were times when I couldn't shower, I couldn't wash properly, I smelled a little bit, I couldn't poop, I couldn't pee, I was dehydrated, I was lonely, I was crying for no reason because I was hitting a little bit of a depressive episode. My PMS was coming. I don't know, there was a lot of grief, dire moments, but amongst it all, the moments that shined the most was the experiences that I got to have with, of course, during the show while performing, but also just getting to meet my fans like in person and getting to talk to them for the first time. I unfortunately wasn't able to do meet and greets last time when I was on tour with Chai because of COVID restrictions, but this time fortunately I was able to do one, and oh my god, it was so weird. It was so weird. Just so many people came to say hi after the shows and told me they loved my music. Some of them were new people who were like Mystery Skulls fans and, you know, saw me for the first time. Most of them were people who saw me for the first time, and you know, but they were kind enough to come say hi to me after shows, and you know, some of them were very nice enough to even give a shit about some weird things. Weird, but I guess understandable things, like being signed on their boobs or their body parts. I first started saying like, I will sign your boobs, I will sign your titties, I will sign anywhere. Okay, maybe not like around your asshole area, maybe not your genitalia area, just because of like, you know, protect yourself and myself and everybody. But like I would sign a decent amount of places just jokingly on stage, and a surprising number of people came to me after shows during the meet and greet to asking me if I can sign their titties, their boobies, and I signed them all. I signed lots of boobsy, lots of big boobs, small boobs, medium boobs, all kinds of boobs. All boobs were beautiful. I remember one time there was someone who came up to me and said, I don't know what this procedure is called, but I think it's the procedure of getting like your breasts removed for gender transformation. I'm sorry, I know this topic, like terminologically speaking, this is a very like difficult area for me, but like sorry if I got this wrong, but there was someone who came up to me and said he recently got his breasts removed, and he opted to, oh god, okay, I suck at this. I'm sorry. Whatever I say, I do not, it's just out of ignorance, but I mean well. They, this person, they came up to me and said they recently got their breasts removed and they didn't have nipples. So there was no nipple. And they asked me if I can make, well, I suggested, as I saw that they didn't have any nipples, I suggested that, can I make a nipple for you? And they said, yes. And I made a flower nipple for the person. It was very nice. It was very nice of the person to let me draw a new nipple. It was a very wholesome experience. I've never drawn a nipple on someone. It was a very fresh experience indeed. But nipples and boobs, I signed them all. Also got to like sign a lot of people's shoes and skateboards and lots of like really nice bags and phone cases, which are like, I wanted to make sure, like I asked them all, like, are you sure if I can sign this for you, because this is a nice bag, and this is a Sharpie, you know. And like they're like, okay, yes, of course. I hope nobody regrets getting it. But anywho, if you're listening and I signed your boobs, or I signed your bags, or I signed your ankles or arms or caps or t-shirts, I would just like to say thank you for letting me mark your things and possessions, prized possessions. Some people got my doodles like on their skin tattooed, which is it made me nervous because they told me in advance that they were gonna get it tattooed, and I'm like, okay, are you gonna get it tattooed like line by line by line, like as it is? Because like I only get one shot, you know. I want to make it good, you know. So hope it came out good. Thank you for getting it tattooed. Suniverse gang forever. Thank you. Lots of friendly moments, lots of lovely encounters. Some of them a bit emotional. I remember there was a girl who came up to me. I believe it was an Orlando show, I think. She came up to me after the show. She was, bless her soul, she was like trembling, and she was like, she was very, I could tell that she was very like nervous. And she told me that her mom passed away in the last year or so, and she told me that my music helped her go through her mom's death a lot, and she asked me if I can like take pictures and sign stuff, and you know, it was a bit weird. It was very weird, not weird, but it was just like a lot. It was she like started crying, and I started like crying a little bit. And I don't know, I was glad, but also I was like, you know, sad. And I'm glad that my music helped, you know, bring some kind of solace during, I'm assuming, a very devastating period of her life. I told her, in hindsight, I hope she wasn't offended. I mean, if I don't know, there's a very low chance you're listening to this, but if you are, I hope you're not offended. I hope you know that I meant meant this in the very best way possible, but I always tell people who are grieving, myself included, because I lost my grandpa on my mom's side a few years ago, and it was the first time I ever experienced somebody in my family member passing away, but also he was very dear to me. He was very, very dear to me, and it was a very hard experience. And the way I coped with my grandpa's passing away was a lot of crying, of course, a lot of crying, a lot of stress eating after the funeral. But it was also that I don't think of them as like being with me in spirit, or they're always with me in my heart, or they're always watching over me. I don't say that. I always say that the people who are gone are happily oblivious, forgotten all about us, forgotten all about their family and their loved ones that they left behind, and just having a good time up there or wherever they are right now with their heaven friends, with their afterlife friends, or whatever that comes afterwards. They're having a good time. They're having a blast, not really thinking much about us anymore. And for some reason, the thought of thinking about my grandpa just having a good time, he was an avid golfer, so just the thought of him just playing golf with his mates up in heaven, not really thinking about me or anybody, gives me joy. And I told the girl that night that, no offense, but your mom probably forgotten all about you and just having a good time up there with her friends, with her new friends. So they're at a better place. But I hope, I hope this doesn't like offend you or anything. But I'm glad and I'm honored that my music has helped people. Lots of people go through some hard moments, some rough moments, through the pandemic, through dancey moments, through lighthearted moments, through boring moments. Whatever moments that they were going through, I'm glad that my music spiced them up, and it made me really, really happy to hear about them from the people themselves, in person. I got so many hugs. I hugged so many people. It was like my social energy was so low by the end of each night, especially on nights when I did do the meet and greets. Apologies if some shows I had to just miss out because I was so tired. And I will get to this part sometime in a minute, but I did lose my voice at one point, and I just couldn't. There was no sound that was coming out of my mouth. So apologies. But on the nights when I did have the meet and greets, it was like my social level was just drained, but also I felt good. It felt good, and I definitely felt like I was doing something right. I guess I need that validation. Like, I'm not even ashamed to admit it. Like, I need the validation from people because I have never been able to give myself the validation, so I need it from other people. I guess it's healthy that I have to get that validation for myself, but at this moment I can't. So I need to hear it from other people. I need to hear from people that I love, people that I trust, people that I work with, people that support me, that I am doing it right, and that I'm on the right track. I need to hear it from other people. Otherwise, if I just say it to myself, it doesn't feel right. It just feels like I'm making it up. So it was a lot of validation. Very sweet words, lovely messages, and lots of snacks. I got lots of snacks. Thank you for getting my blood sugar levels steady going. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Very very fun moments. Very fun moments were there. But there were some pretty crazy moments too. let's get to the wild moments, shall we? So, basically, our trailer got hit by a car. First of all, these are not necessarily in chronological order. And I'm probably gonna leave out some of the things that are just too traumatizing to talk about. But our trailer got hit by a car in Delaware. Thank goodness nobody got hurt. Nobody in the Bandwagon got hurt. Thank goodness the driver wasn't hurt. She was very not well. She was on some kind of substances. I don't know what she was on, but very not great. Yeah, we were just chilling after our Delaware show, and it was a rough night. So we were just chilling and having a little silent moment. Everybody had drinks in their hands, when suddenly we just felt like a jolt of movement. Everything fell down, like everybody spilled their drinks on the couch. It was just like everybody just did like a huh? Nani? Nani? We're just like, what just happened? So everybody just like stared at each other in shock for like a split second, and then we just ran out to see what happened. And an SUV had crashed into our trailer. The hood of the car that crashed us was completely like just demolished. It was just like a, you know how like when you do like a manic brainstorm on your like sticky note, you like crumple the ideas that don't sound right, and you just throw it away. Like it looked like the hood of the car looked like one of those crumpled pieces. It was so crumpled. It was just gone. There were liquids, whatever liquid, car liquid there is, it was spilling everywhere. There was liquid everywhere. And for some miraculous reason, our trailer was completely intact in one piece. There was nothing, like there was no like dent or anything. It was just completely perfect. None of the equipments were damaged. So there was this like really uncanny and weird, strange moment when our trailer pulled away from the crashed car, and it's just like perfectly like moves away from the damaged car. It was crazy. It was very crazy. I hope the lady's okay. I mean, she was definitely probably and definitely and most likely on drugs. Not very great. Yes, no. I hope you're doing okay, lady. Oh God. Another pretty traumatizing, not so great experience, but you know, in the movie, very nice to spice up a movie of our movie of the tour, I guess, is that I lost my voice halfway through the show. It was a Brooklyn show, and I lost my voice. It was, and I told this to Cynics, Robert, aka Robert, my artist, our good artist friend, Cynics, and he, after you know, in hindsight, after the tour was over, and he was like, I told him, oh, I lost my voice in Brooklyn, and he was like, no, I'm sure you sounded great. Actually, that was actually a pretty accurate impersonation of his voice. I hope he's not listening right now. Oh, I'm sure you sounded great. To which I replied, no, my voice was gone. It was gone. There was no sound. It was like, I'll just dance. It was so bad. I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't think it would be that bad. Yeah, it was really bad. By the time I got to the second song of the set, it was completely gone. I couldn't hit a note higher than higher than that. It was just it was so bad. So bad that I, as much as I hated to that it, I was doing it, but I just like I couldn't help but like start like sobbing up. I like it was so bad. It was so bad. Like Brooklyn, it was like my second time performing in Brooklyn, and I just wanted to make it a good show, you know? I just wanted to make it a good show, and it just, I think in the moment it was so frustrating, so upsetting that I couldn't do what I'm supposed to be doing on stage. The only thing that I can be doing on stage, which is singing, was gone. So I was kind of getting a bit sad and emotional. It was bad, but it was also ultimately turned out to be kind of good as well. As according to thesaurus.com, they say the synonym of good is bad and bad is good. That is a real thing. Apparently, you can type in good in thesaurus.com, and for a synonym, bad is one of them. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, it turned out to be a pretty wholesome experience all in all, though, because my voice was so gone that everybody knew. Everybody knew. It was very apparent that there was something wrong with my voice, and the audience knew, the people knew, and they were just being like, they were just cheering me on. I got a lot of bracelets that night. So I just ended up with this like Thanos, like, you know, like Infinity Stone kind of situation going on my arm, where my whole like arm was just like filled with bracelets that I got from the audience. But it was very wholesome, kind of traumatizing, to a point where I was just like, I just cried so much after the show. And I even thought about like canceling and like opting out to play some of the next shows. Thank goodness I didn't. My voice was still not back in the preceding shows, but I think from the supportiveness of the Brooklyn audience, I was able to like, I got a lot of courage, and I was able to thankfully recover for a day, because the next day was like a day off or something. Or I still performed, but I just did it. I just did it. I think I did definitely like hit a point where like during the show where I was singing with no voice, basically like involuntarily like lip syncing to nothing. I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't give a fuck. And I just like, you know what? If I can't sing, I might as well dance. And I just started making some monkey sounds instead of singing, ooh, and just shaking my booty and crying a little bit, inside and outside. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I'm not the type of person who like relies on alcohol. I actually prefer to play shows sober because I want to like take it all in. I want to take the awkwardness. I want to take everything in. But oh man, the days um, of playing shows while my voice was away on a vacay. Ooh, that rhymes. My voice was away on a vacay. My voice was away on a vacay. Hey. Ooh, that's pretty dope. Anyway, yes, while my voice was away on a vacay, I just had to drink. I drink a lot during shows. Before shows, during shows, after shows, I was drinking a lot. Eventually, the voice came back, and I was able to thankfully perform as per usual. But that was definitely an experience under my belt. Thank you, everybody who was there during the shows where I had no voice, just ghost sounds and fart sounds coming out of my mouth, just gas coming out of my mouth, and little sobs. My voice is away. Thank you for cheering me on. Thank you. That's very wholesome of you, and you have no idea how much courage you guys gave me those nights. Thank you. Last but not least, this was towards the end of the tour, but our Bandwagon hit a deer, R.I.P. deer. We didn't get to see the deer because by the time we noticed that we had hit a deer, the deer was far behind the road and it was very dark outside. It was in the middle of the night. We experienced the similar thing we had experienced when we got hit by a car in Delaware, but this time in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a highway. It was just me and Spencer. We spilled our deer drinks, drinks everywhere. I think I was eating barbecue sauce, so I spilled some barbecue sauce somewhere in the Bandwagon as well. It's just abrupt motion of chaos. And our driver, Logan, I was very concerned for him because we had hit a deer. I don't want to say he had hit a deer because it's not like he didn't do it intentionally. We mutually I don't know how to say this, but we hit a deer. The bus hit a deer. And I felt really concerned for Logan because Logan's a vegetarian, and I didn't know how. I was quite unsure how he would feel about the fact that he, as a driver, had killed a living creature as a being in the forefront of the thing. I was very concerned, but Logan was like, "Oh, I murdered a deer. More blood." He's a quirky person. I love Logan. Logan's amazing. Yeah, he's one of those vegetarians who's like, yeah, I'll eat a meat if I'm feeling spicy. I won't be like super against it. He's one of those people. But he's like vegetarian for the ethical reasons. So he's kind of like very, very quirky person. I love him. He's a ball of light, as a lot of people describe him. But yes, unfortunately we hit a deer. I hope the deer had a good life and having a good time in deer heaven. But I guess karma's a bitch because as a result of our car hitting a deer, our car broke. It broke. Our car was broken. Again, and this time our car was the one to be spilling car liquid everywhere. There's liquid everywhere. And the liquid was like a radiator liquid. I don't know what they do exactly, but apparently it directly has like links to the safety of the vehicle, basically. So it was like quite serious, but our like radiator liquid was spilling everywhere, and it was like the color of a strawberry Gatorade. It looked pretty tasty. I didn't try it, but it just looked like it. It's like pink cherry flavored Gatorade color. So as a result of that, we were stuck at a gas station in the middle of Texas, where we were stuck for like the whole day, like 12 hours at least. And we had to cancel the El Paso show. Oh, God. I was really looking forward to going to El Paso, like look around. Apparently you can like see Mexico like from afar. I was really looking forward to it, but we had to cancel it because we just our car wasn't working. But we had the best Indian food at the gas station. It was like the most random place, like in the middle of Texas, the smallest gas station possible. And the Indian place is the only restaurant that's open. And they like serve their rice in a sonic cup because there's a closed down Sonic right next to the restaurant. So I guess I'm assuming they just like acquired the Sonic cup when they closed, and they're like, hey, can we serve our rice in your cup? And Sonic people were like, okay. And the Indian place started serving their rice in a Sonic cup. And ironically, I have never had Sonic food. So that was like my first indirect Sonic experience. But damn, that Indian food was, I would say, the best I have ever had in my entire life. So good. Don't remember the name of the dish that I had, but it was like a vegetable like curry that had like a lot of creaminess to it, and mystery skulls, and everybody else like ordered like chicken tikka masala, and they had the best butter naans, like butter garlic naans. Oh, so good. It was so damn good. We just couldn't stop eating. It was so good. My theory was that the person who opened the Indian restaurant must have like come to this gas station where there's like no restaurant around and open, and he was like, you know what? This place needs some love. And he just opened the Indian curry restaurant, Indian food restaurant, and just serve just Indian papa love filled food. So filled with love. It was so good. I felt loved eating that Indian food. It was so good. So we had some great Indian food in the middle of somewhere in Texas. But I was very sad that we had to cancel some shows this tour, including El Paso show and Toronto show. God damn it. We had to cancel the Toronto show last time as well with Chai. I was so looking forward to going to Toronto this time. Next time. I swear. This next tour, I have to go to Toronto. I just have to. Wait for me, Toronto. Wait for me, El Paso. See you soon. And everybody else too. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode. I miss everyone dearly. I really wish I could kind of, as traumatizing some of the moments were, as challenging as some of the moments were, I'm craving it again. I'm craving the people. I'm craving the cruise. And I hope we can go to Japan together. I don't know if they're listening. I would love to perform in Japan though. That would be so fun. Whoa. And I can visit Chai. Whoa. Anyway, I do not want to cry anymore. I cried so much already on the day we all said goodbye. I was on my train back to LA. I was crying so much. And this lady next to me was just like snoozing away. Just about to literally bump her head onto my head because she was just snoozing away. And I was like crying and trying to look at the window, trying to swallow all the tears. I drank so much tears. I cried a lot. It felt like a summer camp. Felt like a summer camp, but who knows? We might do another one of these soon. Who knows? But damn, the last 5 weeks. That was the recap of the last 5 weeks of tour. All in all, what an adventure. An adventure it was. And it was good. It was good. Thank you guys for making the last 5 weeks so amazing and adventurous and exciting and filled with love and serotonin hugs and signed boobs. Thank you. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Goodbye.